Hey guys, let me introduce myself. I've been maintaining this page for a while for Miss Karen, and I've never formally introduced myself. My name is Tanya Abdallah, and here's a little bit of my backstory. So, I was raised in a rather small home with a rather large family. My parents were not hoarders. They didn't buy and shop and bring things into the home. They were the type of people, as myself, who have emotional attachments. Any gift from a loved one was just treasured and adored and appreciated. And I grew up in a home where it was beautifully decorated with cute little trinkets, knickknacks, and whatnots. And through my childhood up into my adult years, I remember my family taking these beautiful little items and cleaning them and dusting on what they sat on and stuff, polishing everything up like a shiny new dime and putting it back. And that seems like a lot of work for me. I knew that when I grew up, I didn't need a lot of knickknacks and stuff like that. It's not my thing. Fast forward to me growing up, having my own home, I found myself very sentimentally attached to gifts that my loved ones would give me. And I found it really hard to let go. It felt like a disservice. A disrespectful thing to do was to throw away something that was given to me as a gift. Even if I had loved it till it wore out, then I would find myself still hanging on to it because it hurt to throw it away. You know, what if I forget this memory? You know, I've loved this, kind of thing. So to pare this down quickly, my family home, this is what started it all. As I dealt with the death of my parents 3 years apart, our home of, my parents had lived there for over 50 years and they had been married over 60 years. And we had all of our family memories in that home. It felt like that home would just go down from generation to generation, family member to family member. It would always just be. And all of our special treasures of memories were inside. After Mom and Dad passed, long story short, I just found myself puddling in the floor in pain and heartbreak and tears, trying to go through their belongings, anything with their signatures, little letters and stuff. Oh, it was horrible. Well, excuse me. Turned out that the time I finally had painstakingly pulled the very last of the items into a living room where my sister and I had, both of my sisters and I had planned to meet up and go through everything so it wouldn't be just on me emotionally. The house burned that night and we lost it all. Everything. What do you do? It was devastating. It was devastating. My children were devastated. My sisters were devastated. It was just horrible. What do you do in a situation like that? You look at the bright side. After the initial shock wore off, I realized, the painstakingly event that was about to take place, that was hanging over my heart and my head, wasn't taking place because there was nothing to go through. Oh my God, the memories. Guess what? They're still here, and they're still here. And I realized that I hadn't forgotten everything. I hadn't forgotten anything since losing the physical object. Sure, if I could have done it differently, I would have loved to have had the chance to go through some things that are irreplaceable. But also, it saved me and my sister, and me and my other sister, and me and my kids, of having to go through the sadness of making choices to dispose of some things, as a family. So, moving forward, I took that ideology to my home that I was living in, and I decided, we don't need all this stuff. We need space. We need peace. We need calmness. We don't need the chaos of trying to store this, trying to move that, trying to go through this. This is waiting to be folded. This is waiting to be cleaned. Too much. It's too much. So as I started, my daughter-in-law called a shelter, and we loaded out truckloads. And I had a sentimental keepsake area that I had stored, and my son's like, I'm going through this, getting rid of everything. I'm like, what's in there? He goes, if you don't even know what's in there, you don't need to know what's in there. You don't need it. Look away and don't look back. I did. I didn't look back. That's been nearly 8 years ago. And not once have I asked where something's at and it being said, oh, it was in that pile of stuff I got rid of. I've never missed anything that was in there. I didn't even know what was in there. So this is my point right here. We get clutter blindness too, because if it's sitting in the same spot for so long, it becomes a fixture to our brains. So when I started paring down my belongings and everything that I had wanted to get rid of, my oldest daughter, told me, Mom, this is a thing. It's called minimalism. And it sounds like that's what you're achieving. I didn't know it was a thing. I was just saving my mental health and trying to make my workload less and be able to enjoy my life more without stressing over things. That's how I was processing it. But she goes, that's minimalism. So she got me the KonMari method book, and I read it. And, even though I didn't really do it in that sequence of process because I just did it the best way I knew how, it sat well with me. It sat well with my soul. I'm like, yes, I get this, So I just wanted to say all this to say everybody's on their own journey, and you come about in different ways to make the decision to live a more simplified lifestyle. And as the minimal mom is one of my favorites, I repeat it to myself all the time. It's not that you're a bad housekeeper or you're messy. You probably just have too many things in your home and not enough time or energy to take care of it. And that's okay. Since I've come across having this labral tear in my hip and been misdiagnosed for 4 or 5 years, my mobility has suffered. So therefore my housework has suffered and my responsibilities to my home has suffered. And I'm a big believer in my home as a blessing for my family. So I need to bless my home back by taking care of it. And I've never felt so badly about myself as when I don't feel I'm keeping up on my home. I feel very unappreciative of my home when I do that. And I've had to learn how to give myself grace, how to allow myself days of, and sometimes it's days and days of rest and not doing what I need to do and kind of just, putting my responsibilities on the back burner. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the winter season is upon us. The days are going to get shorter, and our darker, dreary times, cold times, shut-ins and stuff is going to be a lot harder. And I am affected by winter. I love winter, but yet it affects me. It drains my energy, and I'm more sore, more stiff. And it seems like even though I have more downtime, I have less energy. So it's kind of counterproductive. But with this season coming up, it is the perfect time in my home for me to pare down even more, because I would prefer to have cozy nights of hot chocolate and movies or a good book and snuggling with my loved ones rather than looking around and seeing a bunch of stuff that I need to get rid of, because visual clutter impacts me so hard emotionally and mentally and physically. Like, I get so stressed out with a really cluttered house, and I hate it because even my own sisters and family members will say stuff like, I bet when you're in my house, it drives you crazy, right? Because I have a collection of Victorian stuff, or because I have a collection of this over. No, it doesn't. Your home looks homey and cozy and welcoming, and if it brings you joy, then it's worth maintaining. And just as my parents, their special things, their gifts that they loved brought them joy. And there was no need to get rid of it. I just said for myself, I didn't want to take care of a lot of things that I had to have a heavy load of cleaning and keeping up on, because I want a simpler life than that. But that life and those choices brought my family, my parents, their joy. And there was nothing wrong with that. That was their journey. This one is mine. And I just don't want to take the energy to take care of a lot of stuff. And if, like my sisters, you have things in your home, on your walls and on your shelves, and you love it, no apologies. Love it, enjoy it, live it. I'm not looking down on someone else's home because of their style or their choices, okay? If it brings you joy, it's good. And I see so many people saying to other people who are minimalist on like the YouTube videos that I watch, saying, well, how can you be a minimalist but you have 10 purses? How can you be a minimalist and you have all that in your closet? You know, it's because it's different for everyone. My journey and my idea of minimalism is me having fewer items to run after and take care of and maintain, and more space, not more space to put things in, but more space that's open, that I can just enjoy the peaceful, calming openness, okay? That's my ideology of my journey. And if yours is different, that's okay. You're validated. Keep what makes you happy. Toss what doesn't. If you have to take a picture of it or take a piece of it to allow yourself to let it go, or just wait on it. Because there's times I make 2 or 3 pass-throughs when I'm decluttering. And at first, I'm like, oh, I just can't get rid of this. And then, you know, a couple weeks down the road, I'm like, yeah, I can get rid of it now. And then I toss it, or I donate it, or repurpose it, whatever. But I hope this has given you a little insight to who I am and how I see things and what I'm about. And if you are succeeding in your journey, congratulations. If you've chosen to abandon the journey and you become a maximalist, that's okay if that's what makes you happy. And I wish you success in that. If you abandon the minimalism journey, it's okay. You're not a failure. You just changed your path. So I just wanted to say, no judgment, no hate. Everybody's on their own individual journey, and it changes with every person. There's no right or wrongs. Do what makes you happy and have a nice life. It's up to you to do that.